Hi everyone, welcome to project number 7. This week I'm going to have you build 3 simple web pages. We're going to be putting an image into the first one, we're going to put an audio clip into the second one, and we'll be inserting a YouTube video into the third web page. So to get started, we want to do a site setup, and we want to go ahead and create folders and upload our audio clip into the Amazon AppStream environment. So I'm going to go ahead and click on My Files, and then we'll click on Home Folder, and we'll go ahead and create a folder for project number 7. Once we have the folder, we'll go inside of it, and we'll create additional folders for what we're going to be using this week. So I'll create an images folder, an audio folder, and that should be good. If you're going to be uploading your own video from your cell phone that you transfer to your computer, then you can create a third folder for video. Otherwise, I'll show you how to embed a YouTube video into that third web page we're going to be creating. All right, so now that we have our folders here, we can go ahead and click inside the audio folder, and we can upload that audio clip that I'm providing you this week. So we'll go ahead and go to 109, project 7, and we're going to see an audio clip here. So I'm going to go ahead and hit open to upload that audio clip into Amazon AppStream. Okay, so now we can go ahead and close the My Files folder, and we can go ahead and finish our site setup. So I'm going to go over to Site, New Site, and I'm going to go ahead and label the site name for project 7. And we'll go ahead and define where the local site folder is for project 7. So we'll go over to Home Folder, project 7, and click Select Folder. And then we'll click Save at the bottom. All right, so now we have access to our audio and images folder there. Oh, one more thing. You're going to need a picture for this project, so go ahead and download any picture from the internet or insert any picture from your computer, and you'll also upload that into your My Files folder. That way we'll have access to it. Let me go ahead and pause the video, and let me go ahead and insert my picture really quick. Okay, so I just paused the video for a second to upload my picture that I'm going to be inserting into my home page. So, okay, so now that we have that, we're going to go ahead and go over to File and New. And we're going to be creating a new HTML document, and we're going to click Create. So since we're going to have 3 web pages, we're going to call it a website, and we're going to go ahead and save this first web page as our index page. So I'm going to go to File, Save As, and it's already identified where we're going to save it, to our project 7 folder, and I'll just call this one index.html and click Save. All right, let me go ahead and switch over to Design View, and let me go ahead and go to Design so that we're viewing the design for the web page. So first element I want you to add to your web page is a little welcome. So let me put welcome to my website, and you can put whatever title you want. Next, I want you to bring up your properties inspector. That way we can apply some formatting to our web page. So I'm going to go to Window, and I'm going to go ahead and go down to Properties to bring up our inspector. I'll bring this down to the bottom. Okay. Next, I want you to go ahead and highlight it, and I want you to apply bold formatting. And then we're going to switch over to CSS, Cascading Style Sheets, and that way we can choose a font family and we can choose a font size. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the available list. You can choose whichever one you like. I'm going to go down to Gotham because it's a nice sans serif font. And then I'm going to go ahead and increase the font size to about 36. After we choose our font size, I'm going to have you hit Enter. And now we're going to insert some site navigation. So we can switch between the web pages as we link them together. So since this first page is going to be our home, we're going to go ahead and label it home. I'll go ahead and put in a pipe. And then our second web page is going to be audio. So I'll have you type in the word audio and then another pipe. And then our third web page will have video. So then when we're all done, we'll link all these together. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter again. And then now I'm going to have you insert a picture that you've downloaded from the internet or that you have on your computer. So I'm going to go over to the Insert tab, and then we want to make sure that HTML is highlighted from this drop-down list. And then we're going to click on Image. And now it's going to let us browse our defined folder for this project. And then here's a picture I'm going to insert. So now if you haven't optimized your picture ahead of time, meaning sized it and cropped it, then what you're going to need to do is just shrink the proportions a little bit in Dreamweaver. So since we have our properties inspector open, we can see the properties of the picture. We can see what the name is, where it is, and we can see the dimensions over here. So I'm going to go ahead and decrease this to 450 pixels wide, and I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And so then you can see that because the little padlock is closed, it's constraining the proportions. So that means whenever I put a width, it's going to automatically change the height to keep the image in proportions. So after we go ahead and insert the picture, then I'm going to have you click to the right of it and hit enter, and we can move the properties inspector up, and we can see that now our cursor is blinking below that. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a horizontal rule. So we're going to go ahead and go into the code, and we can move our properties inspectors out of the way. You can see where the cursor is blinking, that's where I'm going to insert a horizontal rule. So I'm going to go ahead and erase that non-breaking space, and I'll just type in the code for a horizontal rule. So now if we go back over to design, we'll see that now we have a horizontal rule. And so there's one more element that we want to do. So I'll just go back into the code. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. And then this is where we're going to go ahead and put in our copyright symbol, the year, we'll put our name, and then we'll link our name to the email. Let's see here. So next thing what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put in ampersand, and then we can put the word copy, and then right here we can see that there is the code to insert the copyright symbol. So we can just click on that, and then we can put a space, and we can put the current year, and then I can put a pipe, and then I can put my name, and then we could link my name to my email address. So let me go ahead and go back to design so that we can see what this is looking like. We can see now we have the copyright symbol, the year, and our name. So the easiest way to link this to our email address is to go ahead and highlight your name, and then using the properties inspector, we can switch back over to HTML, and then we can insert a link here in the properties inspector. So the code to insert a linked email address is you're going to put mail to : and then you just put your email address. When you click off of this, you're going to see that now it's been linked. And if you click on that, it's going to be showing you what it's linked to. So now that we have the copyright symbol, the year, and our linked name to our email address, there's just two more elements I want you to tweak, actually three. So the next one is, let's go into the code and look at the top of our document. We can see that we need to add a document title because right now it says untitled document. So you can either use the properties inspector and update the document title there, or you can go into code and update it here. Since I put welcome to my website on the actual web page, I can repeat that if I want that to be my document title, or I can put whatever I want. But I don't want you to have untitled document, so I want something there. So for purposes of this website, I'll just put my website, and that'll be my document title, okay? And so in addition to that, let's go back into design view. We can see that we have an image here. And so in our earlier projects, I may have had you add alternative text. And so I want you to continue that this week and for any future projects where we're inserting images or we have images in our web page. So remember, alternative text is for people that are visiting your website that may be vision impaired. They may be blind or they may have low vision, and so they use assistive technologies, something called a screen reader, to read every element on the website. And so if you click on your picture, the properties inspector is going to show you the area for alternative text. And so you don't want to put the file name like ferrari.jpg. That's not useful. The idea behind alt text is you need to describe what the picture is of for someone that can't see it. So if it was important to note that it was on a cobblestone street, then you could make reference to the cobblestone street. In this case, I will just put Ferrari, and that's short and sweet. If the color was important, then you would want to put the color in there. If the background was important, then you can reference the background. But for this purpose, I'll just put that it's a Ferrari, and then that'll be our alt text. If you have other elements in your picture, just try your best to describe what the picture is of. You want to leave opinions and assumptions out. You just want to report the facts. What is it? So you don't have to say this is a photo of a Ferrari, because the screen reader is already going to say image, and then it's going to read your alt text, okay? So in addition to providing a short description for your image, and again, the alt text doesn't have to be a complete sentence. It could be a word, a few words, a phrase. You don't have to use punctuation or capitalization because no one's going to see the alt text. It's there in the code, and it's going to be read by a screen reader if someone's visually impaired. Okay, so next, what I'm going to have you do is let's tweak the background color of our page. So for this, I'm going to click off of the image, and you can see that there's our document title, and we're going to click on page properties. So from page properties, we can actually choose a default font for all of the text on our web page instead of highlighting some text, applying the font, and then moving on. You could kind of prepare this ahead of time so that any wording on the web page will have a certain font. But I want to draw your attention to text color and background color. So if we click on background color, you're going to see that you have a color palette, and you can go ahead and click around to choose a certain background color. So the one thing that you want to keep in mind when you're choosing your text color and your background color is to make sure that you have sufficient contrast, right? If someone has vision problems or just anyone with normal sight, it would look horrible if you had like a yellow background with white writing or a white background with yellow font colors, because it's very hard to see. So whatever color pattern, color palette you choose, just make sure that there's sufficient contrast between the background and the foreground, the text color. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a red, and I can click off of that, and then I can click apply, and you can see that it's changed our background color. So if I move our little properties inspector, I think I have to close this. You can see that now we have a different background color. And if we want to go back and make a change, we just click on page properties, and then we can go ahead and continue to choose a background color. and then it'll just change according to what we're picking. But you just want to make sure that there's sufficient contrast between the wording and your background. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to red, and then I'm going to click off of that and hit apply. And then that's the only thing I want you to do is just choose a different background color. You can choose a different text color if you want, and then you'll click OK. And so the very last step before we move on to our audio and video pages is I want to center everything. So go ahead and click anywhere on your web page, and on a PC you're going to do Control A to select everything, and on a Mac you're going to do Command A. And let me go do that again, Command A, and for some reason it's not doing it. So let me go ahead and try it again. And that's not working. So it could be because I'm using the web-based version. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Edit, and I'm going to do Select All. Oh, I guess it's still treating it like a PC, so I can do Control A. So there, it's selected everything. I'm on a Mac, but I was able to do Control A. And so then we're going to go ahead and adjust the alignment. So I'm going to click back onto the CSS portion of our properties inspector, and then I can apply center formatting. So for your first web page, just put a title, put some links to the other pages we're going to create, and then we're going to have you insert a picture and then apply some alternative text, and then we're going to insert a horizontal rule, the copyright symbol and year, and we're going to have you put a linked name down here, and then you'll center everything. And that's going to be our index page for this week. Okay, so next we're going to go ahead and work on our video page. So that we don't have to start from scratch, we can use our index page as a template. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Save As, and then I can add another web page here. So I'm going to go ahead and call this video.html. And I'm going to go ahead and hit save. So for this web page, we're going to be inserting a YouTube video. So I'm going to go ahead and replace welcome to my website to welcome to my video. And again, you can choose whatever wording you want, but I want some wording here at the top. And then we're going to go ahead and delete that picture we've inserted. And so now let's go ahead and go over to YouTube. Okay, so now we're on YouTube, and I'll have you do a search for any video that you'd like. Just make sure it's appropriate for this class. And I want to make sure that this video that we choose has closed captioning. That way, if you have any hearing impaired visitors to your website, they won't be excluded. They'll be able to understand what's happening in the video, even if they have the sound off or if they can't hear. So once you select a closed caption video, then you're going to go ahead and click on Share. Sometimes older videos won't have the word share, they'll just have this little arrow. So you'll either look for an arrow or a combination of the two. And then once you click on that, you're going to go over to Embed, and that's going to show us the HTML embed code. So you're just going to click once anywhere in the code, and it highlights everything for you, and then you can click Copy. Once you've copied that, then you can go back to Amazon AppStream, and we can insert the video code. So I'm going to go over to Code. All right, so on line 18 we can see our cursor blinking, and we had a non-breaking space that I just deleted there. Now normally you should be able to paste that code from YouTube inside of Dreamweaver, but I noticed that Dreamweaver is having an issue copying and pasting. I suspect it's the web-based version of Dreamweaver, because I've never run across this with the software that's installed on my computer. So for the few of you that do have Dreamweaver installed on your computer, you should be able to go to Edit, Paste, and paste that code directly right between the paragraph tags on line 18, and you should have an embedded video. So for purposes of this project, I'm going to wait until we're all done, And once we have our web page for video downloaded back to the computer, we'll go ahead and manually insert the code because I've tried it multiple times and I think it's just a glitch with the web-based version. But you should be able to just click on the code, click copy, and then you should be able to go back in here and you should be able to paste it right there. But if I go to edit, you'll see that the paste function is grayed out. I could paste that code into a document from YouTube, but for some reason when we try to copy and paste inside Dreamweaver, it's giving me an issue. So I'll give you a fix at the end of this project. So let's go ahead and go to design. And after we insert that caption video, we were going to be done with this web page anyways. So let's go ahead and just save the changes for right now. File, save, and let's move on to our last web page, which is our audio clip. So again, to save us from having to start a web page from scratch, we can just go back to File, Save As, and then we can call this web page audio.html. And then we're going to go ahead and click Save. Okay? And so it's giving us a message saying that this file has been modified outside of Dreamweaver, so I'm just going to go ahead and say yes. And after we save the web page as audio.html, now we're going to insert our audio clip. So we can put our cursor right below our navigation, and then we can go ahead and go back to the insert panel, and then under HTML you'll scroll down towards the bottom and you'll see that you can insert HTML5 video, and then there's HTML5 audio. So this is the one we want to choose. So once we choose HTML5 audio, we can go ahead and collapse this panel, and you can see that now they've added a little placeholder for our audio. So I'm going to bring back our properties inspector that I closed. And now we can see that we can go ahead and select our audio clip, and it's going to have us look for the source. So now we need to link that sound file I gave you or whatever MP3 you've decided to use for this project. So I'm going to go ahead and click Browse, and I'm going to go over to my audio folder. And now we can see here's the Ben Sound Sunny, and I'm going to click OK. And so now it's inserted that audio clip into my player. So I'm going to reselect the clip, and down in the Properties Inspector you can see that I have controls clicked. That means that when a visitor comes to my web page, they'll be able to start and stop the audio clip. You can also choose whether you want your sound to loop and whether you want it to be muted, and also you can choose whether you want it to automatically play. So now if you are going to use autoplay, you do want to have the controls listed there. You want it to be selected. That way the user will be able to stop the audio. If you just have it on autoplay and you don't have controls clicked, then you might end up torturing your website visitor because they're not going to be able to shut up the audio or turn it off. So you can experiment with these. I don't mind if you have the controls visible or not. I don't mind if you have it on loop or autoplay, just so that you can experiment. So if we want to see what this looks like in a web browser, we can go ahead and save our changes. So we're going to go to File, Save, and then we can go ahead and go to File, and we can do real-time preview and have it open up in a web browser. So let me go ahead and choose Mozilla Firefox, and it'll open up in Firefox and show us what our audio page will look like. And then we'll go ahead and make one more change so that it says welcome to my audio. So here you can see what it looks like in Firefox. And so if your user wanted to adjust the volume, they could, and then they could press play. and that's what it would look like in your web page. So if you didn't show the controls, this would not appear. And then if you had it on autoplay, then it would just start playing the moment the visitor got to the web page. But again, if you want to give them the ability to turn off the audio, then you do want to have the controls selected when you're designing it. So let's go back into Dreamweaver. Now that we're back in Dreamweaver, we can go ahead and change this wording so that we can reflect our audio. And then we can go ahead and go to File, Save. And so now we can see that we have audio on our audio page. I'm going to give you that workaround to insert that embed code since Dreamweaver was being problematic copying and pasting. And then we have our index page with our picture. And so before we leave Dreamweaver and insert that video manually, we want to go ahead and link our web pages together. So we're going to adjust the document title on the second and third page, and we're going to link these together. So since we're on our index page, our main page, we don't need to link the home link here because it's not going to take us anywhere. It's going to bring us right back to this page. It's like reloading the page. So instead, we're going to go ahead and highlight the audio wording, and then we're going to go ahead and go back to HTML down below, and then we can link to our audio page. So we're going to click on the folder, and then we can click on audio and say OK, and then we've linked to our audio web page there. And so same thing with the video wording here. We're going to highlight that, and we're going to go ahead and link to our video page. Click OK. And now we can go ahead and save those changes. And then we can do the same thing on our second and third page. So remember, the document title for our main page is called My Website. And so when we go over to the video page, we can go ahead and change this from My Website. We can say, my video. And then we can also link back to the home. So we'll click on the folder there, and we're going to click back and link to our index page. And since we're on our video page, we won't link that, but we can link to our audio page. And then we can save those changes. And then we can click onto our audio page, and then we can link to home. And we can link to our video page from the audio page. And let's go ahead and save those changes. So now if we're on the index page, we're going to have the ability to go to audio or video. If we're on the video page, we're going to have the option to go to home or audio. And then if we're on the audio page, we'll be able to click on home or click on the video link. And so let's go ahead and change the document title for audio. So I'm going to change this to audio. And now we can go ahead and do File, Save. After we've updated our document title on all three pages, and we've created hyperlinks so that we have a 3-page website all linked up, we can go ahead and download our 3 web pages back down to our computer onto your CAOT 109 folder. And then I'm going to show you how to embed that code from YouTube just using a plain text editor like Notepad or TextEdit on a Mac. Just because it wasn't allowing me to copy the code from YouTube and paste it into Dreamweaver. And again, I suspect it's because we're using the web-based version and there's probably a glitch. I've done it before using the client version of Dreamweaver, which is the one that's installed on my computer. So if you have it installed because you just have your own subscription, you could try to just embed the code by just pasting it into line 18, I believe is what it was. So if we go down to the code, yeah, you're going to paste it right here. But what we're going to do, since not all of us have the client version of Dreamweaver, I'm going to show you how to embed that code from YouTube directly into a plain text editor. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video, but I'm going to go ahead and download all three of my web pages that we've edited back down to my CAOT 109 folder, and I'll meet you there in just a second. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've downloaded my three web pages that we've created today. And so for the last step, because the copy and paste was kind of failing for me, going from YouTube directly into Dreamweaver, we're going to go ahead and we're going to open up that video web page. And if you're on a Mac, you can open it up with text edit. And if you're on a PC, you can open it up with Notepad. But we're going to basically be looking at the code in a plain text editor. And so down here towards the bottom, you can see that after our navigation, right, our links to our home, audio, and video, we're going to go ahead and insert that embed code manually. So if I go back over to YouTube and I click share and click embed, I can click copy there. And now inside the plain text editor, I can go ahead and paste that code from YouTube, and then I can save it. But before we do that, we just want to make sure that we've pasted that code. So there's the iframe to iframe. So that's the code from YouTube. So now if we want to go ahead and save our changes, we should be able to preview all of these in a web browser, and it should all look good. So at this point, it's just a matter of uploading these to your web server, and that brings us to the conclusion of Project 7. If you have any questions, please let me know. So you should be able to just open up your index page, and you should see your home page. You should be able to click on audio, bring you to your audio page, and it says audio, and my audio up here for the document title. And you should be able to click on your video link, see your embedded video, and you should see the title, Welcome to my video, and then some kind of a document title for this web page. Okay? If you have any questions, just send me a message.